Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video as we go through a unboxing, build, and test fly of the Arrows Hobby Sky Cruiser 55-inch wingspan RC model airplane. Let's get to it. This is a completed Sky Cruiser that we'll discuss in the video. After this will be the unboxing, the assembly, and the test flights. It's a nice model. It's by Arrows Hobbies, 1400 millimeter wingspan on the box. That's about 55 inches. The weight with battery is about 3.5 pounds. You can build it in a day. Everything's included in the kit, the servos and all that stuff about it. The only three things you'll have to supply are a receiver, transmitter, and battery. So the model is set up for a 6-channel transmitter. You can do 4 channels. You just won't be able to use the lights in the flaps. But 6-channel, you can have the built-in flaps and lights, and that's what I set up. So all of that is included, and you'll work the specifics with your receiver, as you'll see in the video. So overall, a nice finish on the airplane. This is what it looks like. You can see underneath there are hatches for the battery, access to the servos, and just a good amount of scale detail. I do like the wheel pants on the landing gear. Those are always tricky to keep on. They're absolutely solid. I think they work out just fine. And so let's get on the unboxing and the build of the airplane. It's a very nice presentation of the box. 1400 millimeters is about 55 inches. That's the wingspan. And it's a nice tricycle gear trainer aircraft. Looking at some of the specifications, as I mentioned, 55-inch wingspan, 43-inch on the length, about 1,520 grams. That'd be about 3.5 pounds. The motor's included, the electronic speed control, 6 servos. This doesn't come with a radio, but you need a 6-channel radio. The two things you're going to need for this model are a receiver and a battery, and they recommend a 3-cell battery, so we'll go ahead and put that in, and then just some words here. But it looks like a nice little training aircraft with some good decorative elements, so we'll see how it goes. So this is the unboxing of the Sky Cruiser. I'm doing this for the first time. This is the tail right here. We'll have to attach the control horns. No big deal there. This wire is for the light on top of the tail. So that's that. Some bits and pieces with a spinner, some servo connections, control horns, antennas, and so forth. They come with a very nice 3-bladed prop. This is the horizontal tail stabilizer and elevator. Notice it's already hinged. And of course, we'll have to put in the control horns for that. This is the spar for the wing. Keep everything strong. Speaking of the wing, here is one wing right here. It has flaps, nice large ailerons. I'll put in the control horns. And here's the servo for the ailerons and the servo for the flaps. So it's nice to have that. The other wing for the Sky Cruiser. Very nice fuselage here. The control rods for the tails, elevators and rudder, connection for the light. Nice windows with a cockpit and so forth. They even have a little pylon in there with a instrument panel. It's rather nice. The wing goes in here. Some connections that go inside for the servos and so forth. And a access hatch as we go along. Got to put in the nose gear, the landing gear. And everything should fit in pretty well. And there are the servos right there for the rudder and elevator. So nice fuselage. Should be easy to see in the sky. No worries about that. And the rest of those things like the landing gear, nice wheel pants, the nose gears I mentioned, struts, and the various linkages for that. And that looks like everything that came with the box. Very secure box for shipping, no damage to anything. So the next step, we'll just start putting it together. Here are all the components of the kit laid out on the bench. It goes together in a day. I took 2 days for mine, but I think you can build it in a day. From the directions, which are very good, some specifications for the aircraft, weight, size. Remember, you need the transmitter, the battery, and a receiver. A good description of the kit components all laid out to understand what you're going to be putting together. Again, the instructions take you step by step, starting with the landing gear, control horns, control surface setup. It really goes together very well. Some more bits and pieces for the struts and control linkages, nice prop, Y connector for the flaps, 3-bladed prop, and then the instruction manual. Okay, we've started assembly of the Sky Cruiser. A couple things I want to point out. I've got the nose gear in. There's a screw that goes all the way through, which is important to anchor it. But if you kind of take a look inside here at where the set screw is, which is located right here, this is on the collar that goes around the post of the landing gear. If that collar is shifted just a little bit, the post won't fit in. So you're going to have to maneuver this a little bit to get the landing gear all the way in. Then the screws right on in, so it's a very firm hole for the landing gear. But this inner collar has simply got to be aligned for the post to go through. Now, the other thing I want to point out is this airplane comes with one of these vector flight control systems. I personally don't think you need this at all for a trainer aircraft. I think it's overly complicated. I just take it out for all of these types of aircraft. I just don't use it. So that is there. What happens now is we've got to sort out all the wires. So these are the elevator and rudder. Those are pretty clear here because it says rudder and elevator right here. This is a throttle that will be plugged into the 6-channel receiver. And just to let you know, where it says gear here, that's really landing lights. It's not landing gear. So what will happen is there are 3 landing gear connections to give power to the lights. There's no need for the signal, and just need the power. And the way that works is at each wing, you have another gear here for the landing lights. Notice that there's 1 set of landing lights on this wing. On this one, there are 2 sets of landing lights, your landing and taxi lights and your position lights at the end of the wing. That fits into these 3 connectors right here. It'll go into a spare port on the receiver to give it power. So, and then of course this is the battery connector right here with the electronic speed control, and the battery itself goes in here. Shift that for the center of gravity. So just when you undo it, just take a look at the wire and then just plan ahead for where all your connectors are going to go for the wings and the lights. The aircraft is now on its landing gear. You can see the battery connector down there. And now we're going to focus on some of the wiring to make sure everything works okay on the airplane. Nice view of the cockpit. This is a cardboard chute where all the wires have to go from the wing to include the flaps, ailerons, and lights down into the main fuselage for connections. These are some views of the screws for the control horns. It's the same control horns for all the control surfaces. Longer screws in the front, shorter ones in the back, per the directions. Okay, making good progress on putting together the Sky Cruiser, and I want to kind of update you with my technique on doing this. This looks like a complete mess. It is, but I think it's a necessary step. What we want to do is make sure that all the servos, ailerons, flaps, everything works is in the proper direction. So we put things together, we have a good confidence that's going to happen. So what I've done is I don't really care about the lights at this point. I'm going to assume they're going to work. I just have them off to the side. I have my Spectrum AR620 receiver. You can get any one you want. I like Spectrum a lot. It works well with my Spectrum transmitter. And I've plugged everything into the appropriate places. So for this one, number 1 is the what they call the throttle. That's from the electronic speed control. That goes to number 1. Remember, we don't use the BAT, the BATT port with electric powered models. Number 2 is the ailerons. I'll go to that in a second. Number 3 is the elevator, 4 is rudder, and then on this radio setup, number 6 is the auxiliary. It's going to be the flap. So what I've done for the flap, we have the Y connectors here that go into both flaps, as well as for the ailerons that go into the Y connectors of both flaps to either side. So the only thing not plugged into the wing of the gear, which we discussed before, are the lights. The prop is off the motor, so there's no danger of that turning. We've got the battery here, so give me a second. Oh, the other thing I did was, of course, you've got to bind your receiver to the transmitter. I've already done that. So let me plug everything in. So everything's plugged in. Let's take a look at this wing right here. This is going to be the aileron servo. And one of the reasons we want to do this now when it's shipped, these arms are all the way down so they're not damaged during shipment. So that way when we connect this to the control horn, everything's the correct length. The flaps are right here. I have that set up on channel D of my transmitter. So this is up, medium, and then down flap. So that's all the way down. The flaps will be like that. So that's good there. And we see that the ailerons work on the other side. And on the back, the elevator and the rudder. And the motor, you can just hear that turn. So everything's fine up there with no prop. So everything works. The servos are all in. Now we just have to connect the wings, screw things in. We'll be pretty close to being done. As you discussed, it's really important to get everything hooked up so you know where things go and you can ensure everything works. Also, the control horns are in the proper location to hitch up the connecting rods to the control surface. That's the rudder and elevator servos, electronic speed controller, and where you plug in to the battery, and then all the connections to the flaps. You can see there's an awful lot between the flaps, the ailerons, and the lights. This is a little wire that pokes up through the stab that will connect to the rudder for the rotating beacon on top of the vertical fin. You can see that wire right there. It's just a two-line wire for power. You connect that, and then you'll eventually glue the rudder in place. These are the two wing halves with the spar as shown there with all the wires. The two screws are back that'll screw the wing on. Really fairly simple. These are the control arms to the control surface of the wing, and these wires go through that slot, and it goes through this little cardboard chute down there. I actually took out that chute to make sure I had enough room for the wires to get through the fuselage. Here the wings are in place. You just put them together on the spar and you screw it in with two screws in back. And that's all you need for the wing, and we're ready for testing things out. The Sky Cruiser is complete. I'm very happy with the way they came out. The center of gravity is 60 millimeters or 2.3 inches back from the wing's leading edge. With the battery in place, always do the balance with the battery in place. It balances fine. And what I'd like to do is just show you what it looks like powered on. I'm going to keep the battery outside just for safety so you can see that. And so notice you've got your position lights, both red and green, as well as the white landing and taxi lights, and a flashing tail light, the red one, the rotating beacon, which I think is kind of fun. So what will happen is the controls will take a look at the elevator first, elevator up and down. I think that'll be plenty of throw. Rudder, left, right, and you can see that the nose gear steering moves with that, so that is good. And finally, the ailerons located up here. And those are plenty of throw in the right direction. And we'll take a look at the flaps. I put it on switch D, half flaps, and full flaps. So that's all set right there. We'll show you the motor in just a second. I always recommend using throttle cutoff for safety. I have a video on that will be linked in the description. Notice with this right here, we move the throttle up for safety. The engine doesn't work. The throttle cutoff, we flip that up, and now the motor does work. And it should be absolutely plenty of power for the flight for a 3-cell battery. So that's where we are. The model is complete. I'm very happy with it, and we just wait for a good day at the flying field. We'll take it for a test flight. So I'm out here at the field with the Arrows RC Sky Cruiser. Went together very nicely. Looks like a nice day. Don't have to worry about the sun for sure. Light winds, and we'll go ahead and take it for a test flight. I think we'll have no problems with the test flight. So what I'll do, plug in the battery, we'll do a control surface check to make sure they're free and in the proper direction, and then we'll take it up for a flight. So we powered it up, we'll do a control check. I just wanted to point out the lights. I think they're a nice feature. So got the red on the right, the landing light, green over there, the right color is the right side. So even got a little rotating beacon in back. It's kind of fun. So elevator up, ailerons are in the correct direction. Flaps, we're not going to worry about too much in this flight, I don't think. And check the throttle. Okay, now we'll take it for a test flight. This is a no kidding maiden flight. I took a little bit of time to show it taxiing out. The model just taxis well. It's just a very positive feel to the nose gear. It looks good. That 3-bladed prop, 3-cell battery, just plenty of power. You see it just took right off. A little bit of trim needed, nothing unusual of that, and we're up and away. It just was a very positive feel to the model, very comfortable flying it. Easy to see. Again, I keep coming back to the lights. You can see the landing light in the wing. On a kind of misty day like that, it actually helped keep sight of the airplane. It was just a nice feature to have. Very positive in the controls. I'm flying here at less than half throttle and just absolutely working fine. So right about now, it's time to circle back for our first landing. We're coming in on final approach here, a little bit angled, but we'll eventually get there. Pull it back to idle, and just a very nice touchdown for a very nice first flight, and taxi back. So let's try a second flight, see how that works. We'll just go ahead and take off and do one circle around the field to land. Again, very nice taxi, just add a little bit of power, and we're up and away for our flight. Coming back again on final. Nice day at the field, not too much wind. Pull it back, and again that gear is just very nice, not too much bounce, and we're back and taxiing into the pits. So we just finished a couple test flights of the Sky Cruiser, and I couldn't be any happier. This is one of the best flying models I think I've ever had. It's solid, it's smooth, it's responsive. It's a great airplane. I'm just super happy. The one thing, or a couple things I want to point out, I do like the lights that were on these kind of misty, dark days. The lights did help. Also, as my lovely wife pointed out, the landing gear is exceptional. It is a strong landing gear. Sometimes we take that for granted. The wheel pans are on solid. There was very positive steering with the nose gear. That was all good. Just a very stable approach coming in. You saw the approach, the touchdown. It's a great airplane. I could not be any happier. If you wish to get one, please do so. I think you'll be very happy. I know I am. Thank you.